100% of women want to get with the top 20% of guys.
I know this is going to be somewhat of a weird question, but what would your suggestion be to women, right? Because like when you're talking about how women find 80% of men unattractive, that could be partially because like it's not bad for a woman to get educated. It's not bad for a woman to make money. But if you're a woman making $100,000 a year and you no longer find a man that makes $75,000 a year that attractive because you are in you make more than him, but he still does well, maybe there's going to have to come a change in the future to, and I don't know if that change is going to happen, but to what women find financially attractive as they become more successful. Because now if you're trying to get a guy that's making six figures or more, those guys are rare, and those guys are the guys that all the other women want. And they have all the options. So why would they pick you?
Right. That's a tough question. I've been getting that a lot more. I actually have been doing a lot more work with women, really the latter half of last year and now. And the most common question I get is, Rollo, I'm all on board with the red pill. I understand, they really like what I have to say, which is odd to me because I actually get more like resistance and pushback from guys than I do from women these days.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Which, because women want that, they want the high value guy.
These are the guys who haven't gotten laid yet.
These are the guys. Well, that's, as I said before, they're not interested in that 80% of guys who they find unattractive. They're looking for at least the top 20% of guys. And I'm not saying all of those guys are just getting all the tail. It's just that that's what women are attracted to, right? It's the 80-20 rule. It's not that, 20% of guys are getting in with 80% of girls. No, it's 100% of women want to get with the top 20% of guys. And then that leaves the 80% of guys who are sexless or trying to figure out how to adapt so that they can get themselves into the 20th percentile, right? Mm-hmm. But that's what I get right now. And really, again, one of those statistics that has spiked since about 1965, 1970 is as women have gotten into the workplace, have gotten into careers, have become careerist, have gotten educations. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's what I call the fempowerment narrative. Like we have wanted to empower women, like actively empower women by creating special dispensation and social programs for women really since the 1970s. Title IX, that kind of stuff. We've done that for a long time now. And now we have the women of today, the women who can't find a suitable mate of today are the product of the generations that instituted that brought that to being. And so now, of course, what we see is, women, of course, initiate 70% of divorces, but also you have to remember that women over the age of, say, like 34 years old that are unmarried are unlikely to become married. And so when you have women over 30 aren't having babies. They get to 30 and they're still single and childless. Again, another stat that I threw out in book 4 was the Morgan Stanley research called The Rise of the She Economy. Now, this is Morgan Stanley that's doing this because they're trying to make forecasts for the coming decade. And one of the forecasts they made is that by 2030, 42 or 45% of women in prime working age between 25 and 44 years old will be single and childless by 2030. And not as a result of not as a result of careers or focusing on their career or whatever else. It's because they simply will not get with anything less than the guy that they think is their due, which is the high value guy, 6 foot tall, 6-pack abs, 6-figure income, and are looking for the best of the best. As I said before, hypergamy, innate, evolved hypergamy predisposes women to want to get with the guy who is not the schlub with potential, but the guy who's already a turnkey winner that they want to get with. And especially if they've put all of this energy and effort into their own self-development in college, in maybe even postgraduate degrees, in creating their own career, making their own money, becoming independent. We always talk about this strong, independent archetype for women, right? It's a cliche. We want strong leads in movies and stuff, like strong female leads in movies. And that's sort of an extension of this idea of the strong, independent woman. Well, independent of what? Independent of men, independent of men's provisioning, independent of, having to have any outside influence decide for them what it is that they want to do. And usually that's at the behest of the patriarchy or whatever, fantasy we have of male power right now. So when we look at these women and they are the product of this, and they've gone to, like, say 4 to 8 years of school. They've got their own damn money. They've got into whatever job it was they were training for, assuming they were training for a job in the first place. They get to that point and they go, I can't find the right guy. Where is he? And they might make appeals to their religion, like, oh Lord, please give me the man that you preordained me to be with. And that guy is not forthcoming.
I know you're enjoying this clip, but listen up. We have this beef company, Piedmontese Beef, that no matter what diet you're doing, whether it's low fat, high fat, carnivore, keto, whatever, they have perfect cuts that are going to fit your diet perfectly. And the cool thing, Andrew, less connective tissue, so you're not going to have those gristly, nasty things that you have to spit out when you eat beef.
That's what those are?
That's what those are.
Oh, and Piedmontese doesn't have that.
They don't have that because the cows are jacked, lack of connective tissue, buttery when you cut into it. Amazing taste. So, Andrew, how can they get some Piedmontese?
Yes, sir. It's over at Piedmontese.com. That's PIEDMONTESE.com. At checkout, enter promo code POWER for 25% off your order. And if your order is $150 or more, you get free 2-day shipping. Again, that's at Piedmontese.com, promo code POWER. Let's go ahead and get back to this podcast.
And so you've got all of these women who believe that they're entitled to the best of the best, and that yet we see the college enrollment for men is at 40%, and they're only attracted to, the top 20% of guys. And they'll tell me, well, what is it that I have to do to get with that guy? I'm 32 years old and it doesn't look good for me, Rollo. How do I change that? How do I find a guy? And I'm, myself and many other guys have said the same thing, is that, you need to get in touch with your feminine, because up to this point, you've been on your game with your university, you've been on your game with your business and everything else. And you've basically turned yourself into the man that you want to marry. And men don't want to marry another man. They want to marry a woman. They want to get with a woman who is conventionally feminine, who is nurturing, who is don't take this the wrong way, ladies, who is submissive, who is supportive of that guy, who's appreciative, and who is sexy and wants to still have sex with him and really want to get after it with him. So there's that balance. And so when I say that to a professional woman of 2022, it sounds like what I'm telling her is to dumb herself down. So you know what? All that stuff that you built your entire life over, all the stuff that Disney and Pixar taught you when you were a little girl and Frozen, that you can do anything and you can be a boss bitch and you can be an astronaut and everything else, all that stuff. Well, that's not what guys are really looking for. And it's not because they're insecure. It's just because that's the way they're built. That's the way evolution made men. They're looking for like the masculine wants the feminine. And so when you're looking for the guy who is your quote unquote equal, he's not forthcoming, because that guy who might be, make 58% more than you, or might be taller than you, or might be a better, someone that you can look up to and admire. He's not looking for the boss babe. He's not looking for the quote unquote alpha female. He's looking for the woman who is sexy, vivacious, and he's looking, because now he's finally in a position of sexual selectivity, and he's not looking for a 34-year-old professional careerist woman. He's looking for a 24-year-old woman who is still, fun to be with and enjoyable, and wants to start a family and wants to build from there. And so women of that sort of caliber, that professional caliber, who are in their 30s, yes, they're going to be single and childless and alone, as per Morgan Stanley's research. So how do you solve that problem? That's a really good question. Again, just my trying to solve it makes it sound like I'm telling women to get in touch with your inner feminine, and they'll go, well, I don't want to be with a guy who doesn't want to be with me because of me. Or it's like, yes, you want me for my inherent worth. And it's like, no, your sexual market value isn't what you think it is, because the only guys that qualify to be, your equal mate don't want to get with you. They want to get with the girl who's 24, 25, 26 years old. So what do I say? Get in touch with your feminine. Try to be more feminine, wear a dress. I don't know, like in some way, try to refeminize yourself and get in touch with your inner feminine. And that sounds like I'm saying, become a dumb bimbo, get a boob job, dye your hair, yellow, right? Do whatever it is that you think that those guys want to get, and play the game. And that is interesting, because it's almost like a reverse or a parallel for what guys have had to do for a long time. They had to adapt their game and their strategy so that they could get out of the 80% and get into the 20%.
Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel, because we continue to bring you peak content on this channel. Obviously, you guys are here. You guys have watched the whole video. So like, comment, subscribe. All right. See you later.